Hello, this is Ad here, and while I'm in Rundown recovery, let's take a look at some cut footage from the Marvel Legends Rundown. So while I was editing the Marvel Legends Rundown, I had to cut a segment that I normally do every year, and that's a quick tour of my Marvel Legends collection. As you can imagine, with the final video being 54 minutes, I didn't want to add on the collection tour on top of that because that would have made it insanely long. So I cut the segment and I thought, hey, let's just do it as a separate video. That way I have something easy to work on this week while I'm recovering from the month full of Rundown videos. If you happen to be watching this and haven't checked out any of the previous rundowns, I did one for G.I. Joe Classified Series, Masterverse, Power Rangers Lightning Collection, and Marvel Legends. Put a ton of work into them, so if you go check them out, I'd really appreciate it. It's been a long month of video work, so we're doing something simple here. So let's take a look. I filmed this collection tour prior to filming the figures, so it's before I took everything off the shelf, and I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, enjoy. Let's tour the Marvel Legends collection once again, 2021/2022 edition, because it was filmed in 2022, but I've added nothing since 2021. Let's begin. So most of my display is comic-based, by the way. All the MCU Legends are around in other places. We're just going to focus on the comic shelf, starting with good old cosmic bad guys. So we get the new Thanos here, looking super duper cool. I do put the MCU Black Order, or at least the original versions of them, in place of the Black Order from the comics. Yeah, there's no Supergiant. Yeah, they're not exact, but, you know, I don't see us getting comic Black Order, especially now that they're gone and out of the movies. We got Gladiator here. Still wondering if we're going to get, like, I don't know, Warbird, somebody else from the Shi'ar. We got a Skrull Giant Man. That's an old Marvel Universe figure, I think. It's just one of those neat little things. So, you know, cosmic bad guys. Moving over here, we've got the Nova Corps. So we got good old Sam Alexander and Richard Rider in his classic appearance now, and that Nova Corps symbol. And somewhere down there's that little dude. All right, I'm just showing off my zoom lens. I got Titus as well. Moving over to the Guardians of the Galaxy, which, okay, I mentioned this in my Most Wanted Marvel Legends video, but like, can we get some updated comic Guardians? Jeez. These designs were from like 2008. But yeah, Rocket, Groot, Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax, hardly recognizable to their current comic incarnations post-MCU. And just pulling up a little bit here, we got, you know, good old Captain Victory, or Vance Astro, and then we've got Adam Warlock back there, Cosmic Spider-Man, and Singularity, and then, of course, Cosmic Agent Venom. I don't know what else to call him. He's Agent Venom except Guardians. So there you go. There's that. Moving down, we've got some Marvel villains. This is just a villain shelf. We've got, of course, Black Ant and Taskmaster, because they hang out sometimes in the comics. You know, Red Hulk, Red She-Hulk, Leader, Arnim Zola, Red Skull Zemo, so doing a little Hydra stuff. We got Abomination, got Wendigo, got Zemnu, got an AIM section. I probably should switch Ultron with the Scientist Supreme now thinking about it. There we go. Now Ultron kind of stands alone. And then we got AIM with the Scientist Supreme, and MODOK. And then there's also Claw, Kang, and a Hydragoon, Bob, because I forgot to put him in the shelf. So he's just hanging out there until the next refresh. Moving on down, we got my favorite Avengers, which sounds like a sitcom. But these are essentially my favorite of the Avengers. So we got like strong people over here with Hulk, She-Hulk, Hercules, and Thor. Cat people with Tiger and Black Panther, and also Shuri Black Panther. And then we've got the Iron people. So we got, of course, the Modular Armor Iron Man, War Machine, Ironheart, Infamous Iron Man. And then back here we got Falcon, because wings. Then we got Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Wonder Man, because they were in the same era. But it was also because of that weird love triangle that existed in United They Stand, which has imprinted horrible subconscious memories of thinking Wonder Man is cool. And you know what? He is. Captain America out front, kind of mirroring with Falcon in the back. Tiny little Ant-Man. That's from a Marvel Select figure. Then we've got Hawkeye, his lovely once wife, Mockingbird. Spider-Woman, Black Widow, Giant Man, Wasp. It's all the bug people. They're all hanging out. There's Scott Lang, Ant-Man. Of course, we got Kamala Khan, Monica Rambeau, Marvel, and Carol Danvers. So we got the Marvels. They're marvelous. Moving over here, weird to put next to the, Avengers, but here's a bunch of X-Men villains, specifically Sentinels. So we got Nimrod, and we've got the Theta Sentinel, Bastion, Prime Sentinel, Omega Sentinel. Moving on up, we've got that 2019 Days of Future Past Sentinel, and of course the HasLab one, which I have opted to go with the Tri-Sentinel head, because it's different than Sentinel here. So, it's just my Sentinel corner. Got the first appearance Wolverine that I slapped the 3-pack head on, so it's more of a giant-sized Wolverine, and X-Factor Cyclops. They just don't have any other places to go, so that's where they're at, but look at them. Nice little display there. And yeah, there's a lot more X-Men. We'll get to it. So starting off, Hellfire Club, we've got, the main box set of the 4 with Selene as opposed to Jean Grey, 3 Hellfire Goons, Mastermind. The Reavers are starting to get built out. I don't know where Bonebreaker's going to go, but that's not going to stop me from getting them. And then moving one down, we have the Age of Apocalypse. These are the 616 universe characters in their Age of Apocalypse versions, if that makes sense. So nobody here is a new character, per se. Over here is sort of Exiles, but, specifically people who came from Age of Apocalypse who are new characters, plus Sabretooth, because he needs to go with Wildchild. It's just how it needs to be. So moving back up, let's look at the New Mutants. They're kind of estranged from the rest of the X-Men because of Warlock. He had to go on this taller shelf, but there's the New Mutants. They're there. Caliban, Onslaught, Apocalypse, Dark Beast, Arcade, Dark Phoenix. It's villains. Magneto, Sabretooth, Mystique, Pyro, Blob, who's probably the oldest legend still on the shelf. I don't know if we'll ever get an updated one, but I'm glad to have the Build-A-Figure. Sinister, Juggernaut, Legion, the I'm Mad at Wolverine crew, where, 2 of those came from the same box set, but most of those came this year. But yeah, there you go. Moving on down, we've got some of the other X teams. So we got X-Factor plus Maverick, just because I didn't know where else to put Maverick, but X-Factor, still waiting for that Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane would be nice. Is it Wolfsbane? No, that's Wolfsbane. Feral? Anyways, no, it's Feral's X-Force. Are we done with X-Factor? I feel like somebody's missing here, and I'm not remembering offhand, so we're just going to move on. X-Force, getting pretty big. This is getting a pretty big display. So we got, Boom Boom Cannonball, Richter, Domino, Cable, Shatterstars behind Domino's gun. Woo. Deadpool, Sunspot, Deathlock, Warpath. Yeah, get the idea. And then we have the Alpha Flight section, which Alpha Flight, despite all these shelves moving, hasn't been updated because Alpha Flight... Oh, there's the oldest larger legend, Dupe. He came with the original Deadpool way back in the Toy Biz days. So he's still hanging out. Moving one shelf down, we've got... this is sort of like the 80s... 70s, 80s, is what I called it. 70s, 80s X-Men. And you can see these shelves are like just not good for lighting, but there is a lot of people there. Callisto's hanging out, Storm. So it's kind of the 70s, 80s. That's where I put Moira, because I like her in the lab coat. We got Charles with that awesome head that came with the House of X version. So you can see how that works. And then over here we got the 90s. So this is all the 90s X-Men, all the blue and gold. All of them looking sweet. Totally ending up rebuying all those, aren't I, for the animated ones coming out. We'll talk about those next year. All right, so looking down here, we got some modern X-Men. We've got a light that needs to come down further because, oh my gosh, these shelves. But yeah, so we got some modern X-Men, some Dominoes. I put a Negasonic Teenage Warhead in here. I picked the movie one just because it's the only one that exists, but okay. Yeah, Phantom X is in there. This is, it's building out. It transitions over to the House of X sort of looks. That's where the Jean Grey in the green dress lives because they still won't change her costume in the comics. There's also Daken, or Daken back there, is the Dark Wolverine. Again, would like an update. Emma and her girls there. And then we've got, the X-Force colored suits. So that's pretty cool. And I zoomed out. Okay. Moving back over. Sorry, this is a mess. Not a mess of a display, just a hell of a lot of figures. All right, so we got the Deadpool shelf. So different versions of Deadpool. The Vespa fit in here. Venom Pool, Gwenpool. I know Gwenpool's not technically, but she goes with the Deadpool crew. Same with Shikla back there. Madcap's hanging out as well. Venom symbiotes, or just symbiotes. This one's weird because now Shriek is hanging out because she needs to be with Carnage, but the rest of them are symbiote-powered people, so... yeah, Shriek's now out of place. We already looked at that. Where are we going? All right, let's go all the way over here. So I kind of made an Asgardian shelf because, you know, there's enough of them now. Okay, so we got Asgardians and mythical peoples. I'm just going to go with that. Over here we've got, you know, 2 She-Hulks and a Grey Hulk. They're just on the floor because I don't know where else to put them. Also, I've added the Marvel Select Loki and Kid Loki. I definitely like that Loki more. So there is that. We got SHIELD over here hanging out. Just different people. Some of them are movie figures. That's just what happens. Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, and Black Knight are kind of backing up Excalibur because, you know, British. I was just like, all right, European-based characters there. And then I was like, oh, right. But then, like, 4 of these are mutants. But that's where Nightcrawler's hanging out. He used to hang out with the 70s and 80s X-Men. Now he hangs out with Excalibur, at least for now. The superior foes of Spider-Man, plus just transitioning into people that work for Kingpin. It's like Bullseye and Tombstone in them. So, you know, kind of a neat little display. And then we have some of the street-level heroes. So, you know, Darkhawk is always like, my powers are cosmic-based, but I always fight on the ground. So that's why he's there. He's also fallen over a little bit. But, you know, Daredevil, Elektra, those crew, Moon Knight. Then it transitions. So, you know, as you see, kind of like street-level heroes, and then we start to transition over with Iron Fist and Moon Knight into the supernatural-based heroes and villains. So just a bunch of people there. And then we have Sauron and Armadillo, because they don't really fit anywhere else. That's where they're just going to chill out. And there's some X-Men figures just sitting on this shelf next to them, because, again, got too many figures. And hey, Mazinger. So shelf 2, we have the soon-to-be-replaced Galactus. This one still is going to be awesome because he makes sound. So, you know, I'm keeping him. But yeah, this is eventually where the HasLab's going. Just various versions of the Fantastic Four are dominating the space at the moment. Whether it's the modern, with that really dumb Sue head, or the more classic, or the semi-modern, and then Silver Surfer's hanging out. This whole thing's just temp. This is a temp shelf right here. Moving on down, more Fantastic Four. This is kind of like my battle-ready Fantastic Four, if that makes sense. And Herbie's there. Namor, the Inhumans, Doom, Super Skrull. I don't know where my 5 Skrulls are going to go. Also, hey, Stanley. You're there. We remember you. And then, yeah, we got High Evolutionary and Psycho Man, who are the newbies. Down here, we got Spider Peoples, plus Spider Allies. This used to be a lot more figures. I've just cut it down. I just don't need all the versions of Spider-Man on the shelf at a time. But, you know, I still haven't found a comic Spider-Man I like more than Pizza Pete. But, you know, some allies like MJ and Black Cat, Sable, and Prowler. But then, you know, some of my favorites like Spider-Punk, Spider-Man Noir's hiding back there. I put Gamerverse Miles in place of the comic one just because I think it's a better figure. And yeah, you know, it's just Spider Peoples. Pretty cool. And then down here we got the Sinister's foes of Spider-Man, essentially. Because Sinister 6, for the most part. And Morloon's here because, yeah, and then, you know, Doppelganger's here and Hydro Man's here because. But it's mostly just Spider-Man specific villains. And that's the collection. So I hope you liked that little collection tour and it wasn't too all over the place. It's sometimes hard to film collection tours, especially with how many figures I have, especially for Marvel Legends. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and tell me anything you want to tell me. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell to keep up with future uploads. I got a lot of projects in the works you'll be seeing soon. It's going to be a little slower on the heavily edited stuff as I kind of, you know, sort of recover from doing all those rundowns in January. But I hope you will stick around and see what I have on the channel. And also be sure to check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Marvel news and more. And my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at darkclaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.